Hello, dear friends. It's Carly, and welcome to another episode of the I Learned podcast. I am coming to you from the road. I am driving and recording at the same time, really living on the edge here, and I am having just a magical day. So obviously here I am to share that energy with myself, like milk it for all it's worth here in my car as I travel along, and obviously you guys who are listening. So welcome. Today is July 9th, 2021, and that means that 5 years ago this morning was when I woke up and started the first day of the rest of my life. That was 5 years ago today. The day I found Abraham, the day that I said I'm so fucking tired of feeling this way, and either I'm gonna have a life that feels good or I don't want one anymore. And that was the day Abraham came into my life. So I've been celebrating this 5-year anniversary of this current part of my life now that's current. 5 years ago it was brand new, day one. I had no idea how I was going to make the leap from depressed to happy, but I was determined. I was ready. And it turns out that was really all I needed, because the universe showed up and gave me the rest of it. So a huge chunk of that being the Abraham material. So I've been celebrating this morning, listening to Abraham, and it's interesting because I took a break from listening once before. It's been a while, couple years ago. Otherwise, and I've took a break just these last few months. And otherwise, I pretty much listened to Abraham, various videos on YouTube. They're all free. You can get basically all of their content on YouTube for free. Such rich abundance of knowledge there for sure. But I listened basically every day. Every day I gave myself time to focus into what she was saying and to allow myself to be in that energy, like what she's in. And, doing that a little bit more every day. 5 years later, I can't say enough times how different my life is. So I have to give huge credit to her. But this particular story right now is not about her. It's about a belief that I recently came into contact with this. Well, this is a storytelling podcast, so here's the thought. How about I just tell you the whole story? So I recently talked in a different episode, the Pineapple Season is Coming episode, that I got the pineapple reference from a Facebook group called Alpha Femme, and really it's a whole brand, not just a Facebook group. But anywho, Alpha Femme, Femme. Definitely recommend to join that group if you are looking for sources of inspiration and upliftment and radical abundance. Like the money manifestation stories in this group, even rendezvousing my way into the group so I could read their stories, that alone felt like wicked abundance. To even be watching somebody else manifest $21,000 in a single day, or come on there and say, this is my third $21,000 day this month, or, on and on and on. The stories are just out of control, and I love every bit of it. It feels like abundance even getting to just read somebody else's story. So in that group, there's this girl who her story is again, wicked radical abundance, because she talks about, I think it was in 2018 that she was homeless after leaving this toxic, nasty relationship she was in. And she was bound and determined, kind of like that morning that I woke up and was like, I'm done living this way. I'm done. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next thing. And she talks about her own readiness in 2018. And oh my goodness, her business, I think she's like over $1 million in revenue already this year. And for her to build something that huge, that fast, it just lights me up at the possibilities, the potential of what's possible. So anyways, I saw her post a couple of different times in the group. And the second time I saw it, I wanted to like go. I wanted to see like, what is your business for one thing that you're able to make that kind of revenue? But just wanted to know like a little bit more about her. So I click into her personal profile. And on Facebook, I'm sure you're aware, at the top of your profile, there's basically a text box where you can write whatever you want. And she had a couple of different things in that box. One of them, I think the top one, was Money Manifestation Queen. Money Manifestation Queen. Money Manifestation Queen. And that has really stuck with me, that she identifies as a money manifestation queen and is clearly manifesting the shit out of some money. And all of this feels like, wow, like whatever she's got going on, like I can feel it swirling around me too. Like she's obviously like focused it into a faster momentum, like her manifestations are bigger. But I can see, you know, money manifestation queen, I'm close enough to that as a descriptor for myself that I feel like I can reach for it and I can adopt that belief about myself. And that is probably the coolest thing that I learned from Abraham these last 5 years, is how to ultimately change your beliefs into things that really work for you. You know, like we're not stuck with our beliefs. We're not stuck with our original programming. That is just a jumping off point that serves us really well. From there, once we get in control of our attitude and our outlook, oh my goodness, we can sculpt whatever beliefs we want. So again, I say, I feel like I'm close enough to this belief of I am a money manifestation queen. I'm close enough that I can reach out and I can practice it. And that's what I was doing this morning. It came to mind. I didn't force it. I'm not, you know, that's a big thing with working with your beliefs, is like repetition, yes, but we can't really make it happen. We kind of have to work within our own energy. So anywho, I'm sitting there doing my journaling this morning, and I must have been on an abundant topic because the thought came, money manifestation queen. And it felt like I was like slipping on that belief. Like when it occurred to me, I hadn't been wearing the belief, but as it occurred to me, I put it on like a shirt, and now I'm wearing it. And it felt really good. It felt really good to slip on that belief and to believe it, to believe that it's true, that I am a money manifestation queen. And like, you can hear it in my voice, like, I believe it. I believe it. And that's just where I was in this general, like, ooh, like it's so close that I can wear it like this energetically, and I can hold that belief, and I can believe that it's true. And that's when the thought came. A story from 4.5 years ago about me manifesting $18,000. And that is such a fun story, and I'm going to tell it to you. But the overall takeaway in that occurring to me, I just instantly started laughing because I was like, oh my God, it's like so many other beliefs. And as you try to let go of old beliefs that don't serve you, and you try to, you know, bring in and incorporate new beliefs that you believe will serve you better. It's for me, this is how I've had the most luck with that, is I have to, from where I stand today, I have to find evidence of the new belief being true already in my life. So it's not like you're starting from scratch. Like right now today, I slipped on this new belief, new to me because I've never used these words before, money manifestation queen. I slipped that on, and with just a few seconds of focusing in that vibration, I manifested a memory of a time that I manifested a gigantic, to me, $18,000 is pretty gigantic, a big pile of money that I wasn't expecting. And I was following the path of least resistance. I was following my inspiration. I was following my intuition to find the timing through all of that situation. And it ended up with me getting a pile of $18,000 handed to me. And basically what I'm getting at is that story, one, it kind of led to other stories. It started like a list compiling in my mind of times that I've manifested money in my life. And by the time I was done recalling these handful of other times that I manifested big piles of money, I was like, fucking A, I'm already a money manifestation queen. Like, there's nothing new about it. It's not news. It's an updated way of me looking at it, right? So that's crafting a new belief. So this story, it's just fun to tell, and I've journaled about it many times, especially right after it happened, but not so much lately. And when it popped in my mind this morning, it had obviously been a while since it had occurred to me, but it was a massive, abundant feeling. Oh my goodness. So anywho, so when I found Abraham, July 9th, 2016, 5 years ago today, I had been working at my software company job for 5 years, and I had wanted to quit that job for about 4.5 years, and I hadn't done it yet. I had been kind of kicking that can down the road, letting my gigantic paychecks pile up in my bank account. So that obviously served its purpose. But when I found Abraham and they started saying that, you know, basically the moral of their story is you can have whatever you want. So if you're living a life that you don't like, then do something about it. Focus yourself into a life that you do like, that you are satisfied with. It's up to you. And so I'm like, well, shit. Okay. So here, let me write some gratitude lists every day. Let me listen to a little bit of Abraham content every day. Let me see if I can focus myself into a more satisfying feeling, which I did. And fast forward about 4 months into it, I start having this thought. I was writing a lot at that time because I would do my morning time. I would journal and listen to Abraham and drink my coffee in the quiet before my day started, before I had to go to work. And I felt like I was opening up, which now, I mean, I'm a channeler. I have a very open channel. I didn't understand that at the time, but I was opening my channel and I was getting downloads through the channel of imagery and metaphors and analogies and like just writing and understanding and clarity. And I was channeling that into my journaling, but I saw where I could so easily take this writing and these images, these sketches, and turn it into a blog. And that would be so fun. That would feel so good to just, my job be like opening my channel, getting whatever download comes through and turning that content into what I'm selling and let that make me a living. Like that would be so amazing. And so that thought started about 4 months after I found Abraham, and basically was like, yeah, I mean, I should quit my job and just like write and see what happens and just open my channel and see what comes through. And, and of course, you know, that very first time it occurred to me, my practical mind was like, no, I can't quit my job, whatever. Well, it occurred to me a few more times until finally it was like December 9th, December 10th, something like that. And it was like, today's the day. And the thing that had actually manifested, so this is the long, boring corporate explanation of why that was the right day and why the money was that much sweeter, was because I knew I was leaving. I could feel for weeks that, you know, it's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of like pulling the trigger on this plan, but like I know I'm leaving. And I had a job in my department where I supported like 75 people, and I was the only one in that department doing what I did. And there's only a few other people in the whole company that did what I did. And so I knew I was going to be leaving a gap on my team for my boss to have to fill. And so, I mean, I felt like if I waited until I got my year-end bonus, because keep in mind we're in December, and the year-end bonus is about 20% of my annual salary. $18,000 was what I ended up getting, since you now know the punchline of the story. I really wanted to get that bonus. I mean, I by no means had earned it. I was pretty pretty slacking off by that point, but I wanted that money because I was going to be unemployed, and like any extra money would be great. And so that's what I was thinking in my mind, was like, let me get my bonus and then I'll quit. And then fast forward to like right before I did quit, I found out that two of the supervisors in that department were also planning the same thing. Like, they're going to get their bonus and then quit. So right after the first of the year, a couple days before the new quarter starts, and they make all the rotations and everything at the quarter. So that means that my boss is going to have like multiple gigantic vacancies in her team, that with very little opportunity to work with the rest of the company to try and fill those gaps. So that's just I really empathized with her. I really liked her. She was like the first and only boss at that company that I really enjoyed working for. But I really I couldn't stomach the thought of contributing to that stress for her. And so she was done working for the year, like December 15th or something like that. And so I made the decision that I would go ahead and give her my notice now, basically. This is my thought that morning of the day that I went in and resigned was, you know what, like the bonus, the $18,000, it's not worth it to my conscience to treat her that way. And I mean, I'm very grateful for how much money I've already made this year, especially while, like I said, I was not giving it 100% work ethic. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the, $80,000 that I have saved up that is going to help me start my new life. So I'm going to just give her a heads up that I'm leaving and she needs to work on filling that gap now while she has the time to work with the rest of the company and sort it out. And I go to her, I give my notice. They, that company just in general gives you like a day if you're lucky, not 2 weeks. They do pay you for the 2 weeks, so that's always nice. They gave me 2 days to transition out of the company. And at my exit interview, I remember clear as day at the very end of it, which, I mean, they asked questions about my time there and I gave really honest answers, nothing that I really hadn't already told them along the way, but told them again. And at the very end of it, she's like, we really appreciate how you handled this, and we really appreciate your service to the company, and we've decided to give you your year-end bonus. They didn't have to, that check was not cut. They still had over a week to process that bonus. So, I mean, I wasn't even going to be there by the time the bonuses got paid out, and they still decided to pay me that $18,000. And again, it's like one more story of like, let go of the outcome that you think you want and follow your gut, follow your inspiration, follow, the path of least resistance, the path of most ease, the path of most fun. Follow that, and don't be surprised when what you wanted shows up along that path for you in a way that's even more satisfying than me being shady and waiting and making sure that I have that money in the bank so that they don't take it away from me. No, I was like, I need out of there. I need out of there today, for one thing. And two, I'm not going to do that to her because I respect her as a person. And this is who I want to be. This is how I want to conduct myself. And I feel really good about this choice of giving her the heads up. That's worth way more to me energetically than $18,000 in the bank. 10 years from now, 50 years from now, I'm going to look back on that decision. And I had one of two options. I could get the money and run, or I could honor my, myself and who I want to show up in the world as. And that was a beautiful choice, to respect Adrienne, was her name, my boss, to offer her the respect that I felt for her and that I would clearly want offered to me, and to let the universe sort out the rest of it. I'm like, they have way more than $18,000 to give me, so I don't need to clutch onto this money. The universe has lots of money lined up for me. So that's just one example of one time in my life where my inspired action led to me being a money manifestation queen. And it's so fun to think about how true that belief already is. And when you can find a nugget of truth in your current reality for your new belief to root into, it grows. It's an anchor point. It's a reference point that now when you try to work on that belief, you have evidence. You have evidence that it's true. And adopting the new belief gets easier and easier the more evidence you have to support it. And it's up to us. Like, if we want to dig into our current reality and see if we can find some evidence, we don't have to wait for new experiences to manifest to work on integrating our new beliefs. So that is that fun story. Holy crap, that was 20 minutes. Let's see, what else? So I think what got me thinking about Money Manifestation Queen was this day. I think it's so fun that on this 5-year anniversary of finding Abraham and, the first day of the rest of my life and all of that, today what I'm doing is spending 10 and a half hours to drive a 5-hour round trip and spend 5 hours at the grocery store that I'm helping they opened last week and their grand opening is tomorrow. So I am making the little day trip down to help for 5 hours to get them ready for the grand opening tomorrow. And this is part of a contract that I secured here recently to continue helping this store for the next few months as they establish themselves in their new routines. But for today, it's so fun because last week we were supposed to meet on Zoom and she ended up not being available to meet. She had so many things going on since they opened last week. And this week we were deciding if we were going to meet in person this week, like I was going to travel down, or if that was going to be next week. And yesterday she texted me and was like, I am so underwater. We should have scheduled the grand opening for next weekend. I don't know how I'm going to get all this done. If you have time to squeeze in a little phone call, I do have a couple questions. Otherwise, I don't know when I'm going to be able to meet. And it was like a hell yes energy kind of moment. I texted her back and was like, well, since we missed last week, that's 2.5 hours that, we were supposed to spend last week. I can give you those 2.5 plus the 2.5 for this week, and I can come down there and I'll spend 5 hours and we can do whatever you want. And she was in for that pretty much immediately. So today, my 5-year anniversary, is also the very first time I'm getting to make an in-person consulting visit. And I'm sitting here, back up to this morning when I was thinking Money Manifestation Queen, was because I was looking at my spreadsheet that I'm keeping for this project and looking at, okay, so the money I was supposed to make last week, since we're spending that time this week, I'm assigning that revenue to this week as well, plus the in-person visit cost. So this 10 hours that I'm driving down there and helping her and coming back is a $750 day. And that feels really, really, really abundant, like a money manifestation queen. Even though, technically I didn't get paid that money today. Technically, I got paid that money a couple weeks ago because they gave me the first half of the money up front. But even so, that doesn't mean that I can't celebrate every single time some of that money comes to fruition, in terms of that money paid for me to make this little day trip. And absolutely love driving in the car by myself. It's quality alone time. So I stopped at Topeka this morning and I got, at Starbucks, I got a spinach feta wrap and my favorite drink, which obviously is an iced venti chai tea latte with 2 shots of espresso and soy milk. And the lady was all up in the know because she knew that as she read it back to me, she's like, all right, so that's a double dirty hippie chai or something like this. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that my Starbucks order reflects my spirit so accurately. So I got my Starbucks. I am on the open road. I am getting paid something like 70 some dollars to drive like every hour. Like I just sit here and make this episode and I'm on the clock on this day and I'm a consultant. Like, what the fuck? When did that happen? A while ago. I mean, technically I started my consulting business back August of 2020, I do believe, was when I like filed the business license. It's just like so abundant. And that was another thing that I was thinking in terms of money manifestation queen. Yes, there are a lot of times that I've manifested big piles of money, but it also got me thinking about the things that I've manifested that feel even more abundant than money. Like getting to learn Abraham's body of work for free on YouTube. And it changed my freaking life. Like, I got to soak up all of that wisdom from this amazing teacher in a language and in wording that just made perfect sense to me. Like, they made it for me specifically, and it was free. I got to expose that to myself for 5 years for free. And that feels even more abundant than $18,000, you know? Like, that's a foundation, that's a platform for manifestation for the rest of my life. Like being able to build new beliefs in myself and being able to know that the universe is working on my behalf. That feels more abundant than money. And I manifest all kinds of stuff in that vein. Like when I started thinking down that line of thought, the list of all the things that I've manifested that feel even more valuable than money, that was a lot faster coming to mind. And there were a lot more examples than the earlier thought where I was like, oh, I've already manifested big piles of money multiple times in my life. So yeah, like abundance, energy, there's so much energy moving in me, through me, around me. And coming into contact with people whose energy is moving even faster than mine, like the chick in Alpha Femme who was homeless a few years ago and she's made over $1 million in her company already this year. Like hearing stories like that tell me that that is foreshadowing for the path that I'm on, this money manifestation queen path, where like every time I turn around, there's money being dropped on me from somewhere. And at this point, I've built a lot of avenues for money to make its way to me. I've acquired skills and I've done fun things that have taught me fun things that are, you know, all kinds of ways that the universe can send money my way. And all I got to do is believe that it's on its way. Oh my goodness. How fun. How fun is this life of every day unfolding a little bit more? Every day a sign that you're in new territory. Like this. I mean, this is my first ever on-site consulting visit. Is that like the highlight of my life? Probably not. Is it new territory? Abso-fucking-lutely. So are we going to celebrate it? Yes. Yes, we are. Like, oh my goodness. It's so satisfying to notice that you're absolutely headed in the direction of what you want. That you wanted it and you're going there. It's happening. It's already happening, you know, like me deciding that I'm going to learn how to believe that I'm a money manifestation queen. And like 2 days into it, I'm like, shit, yeah, I guess I am. I am a money manifestation queen because that was just a matter of focusing and remembering all of the evidence that already supports that being true. And me deciding to spend my time thinking about it is only increasing the momentum of those manifestations making their way to me. So I think this was good. I think this was adequate amount of rambling. Yeah, I might do another one on the way home. We'll see. We'll see how this day goes. I'm going to give it everything I got at the store and trust that there's obviously value of some kind that I can add to help her and let the universe sort out the rest. So, until next time, beautiful friends, I'll talk to you later.